Alrighty. Okay, so let's just take a moment before we start to just breathe. Thank you for letting us interview you. Introduce yourself.
My name is Michelle. I am a mental behavioral health counselor and a fellow earthling in this wonderful world that we live in.
And are you a spiritual believer or a non-spiritual believer?
I don't necessarily label myself as spiritual, but I would say I'm pretty woke.
Okay, so what does that mean to you?
I feel like the word spiritual, I mean, I guess you could say I am spiritual, but I don't like labeling things because I feel like it puts me in categories, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And being in categories is something that I don't like being in. So I guess I am pretty woke, and being woke really means it's just being aware, being aware of your environment, you know, being aware of like spirit, energy, and also having lots of like self-awareness, you know, self-realizations, and understanding your ancestors, everything that your ancestors went through, your lineage, and you know, this physical realm and all that stuff all together.
Mm-hmm. So what was the first time you ever experienced like a spiritual awakening, or what would you call it?
Spiritual awakening? You know what? Back in 2014, I was going through depression. I went through depression for about 5 years. And there's this one specific dream that I remember. It was very, very scary. I was dead. The person that I was dealing with in my dream was dead. And she kept coming to me, telling me that, you know, you did this to me. You did this to yourself, you know. And I was like, what are you talking about? And, you know, I woke up. And the first person that I saw when I woke up was myself in the mirror. And all of a sudden, a number popped into my head. It was a Bible verse. It was 2 numbers and then a Bible verse. I don't remember the Bible verse, but all I remember was it said, you're going to die by the time you turn 23. So I was like, whoa. You know, I was 19 at that time. And for all those years, you know, through counseling and therapy, I kept telling them that I was going to die by the time I turned 23. Well, the age of 23 came, and I was still alive. And I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm alive at 23, and by the time I'm 24, I'll be dead. But guess what? On my 24th birthday, that's when I have a realization that 2 + 4 = 6, and 6 is the balance, the harmony, you know, the rebirth. And 24 was when I started my journey. So my spiritual awakening, I guess, happened when I was 19, but I didn't fully indulge in it until I was 24.
Mm-hmm. You talked about the Bible verse. Does that mean that you were you had a religion that you practiced before?
Christianity, but the Bible verse, I don't remember the exact the name of the name or whatever they're called, but what I remember was the verse said that you will be reborn, right? But I didn't understand it at that time of my life. I mean, I was 19, you know, I'm 25 now. So, you know, I really didn't understand, like, well, you were reborn, like, am I going to be dying? Like, you know, like, I didn't understand that concept. But now that it's been a year, you know, since, you know, my journey of being woke, it's crazy.
So what do you mean?
Like, wow.
What do you mean? What do you mean by when you say you're woke? So, like, the viewers who don't understand what that means.
So, to be woke meaning having a realization and understanding that you are not alone in this world, and that there's more to just black and white problems. You know, like going to work, going to school, your boyfriend broke up with you, like black and white, you know? There's more to that. Like, this is a physical realm. We're all here for a physical experience, right? Mm-hmm. And all of our problems that we have, everyone's dealing with it. It's just different situations. Same problem, just different situations. You know? Like, nothing is ever a coincidence, right? Like, if you keep saying 111 every day, it's not a coincidence. You know? You're supposed to see that number for a reason. Now, a lot of people just go on with their lives just like, you know, brushing it off like, oh yeah, I've been seeing that number a lot, but it's whatever's, you know? But never realizing that there's actually more meaning to that. You know, their spirit guides are sending the messages. Or being woke, you know, like understanding that you're only here for a short amount of time and that you're here to make a difference. You're here to fulfill something that you weren't able to fulfill in the past life. You know, like for me, I'm a healer, you know? I'm a light worker, a healer, you know? I'm an empath, right? Like I'm able to absorb people's emotions and kind of help them, you know, go through it, you know, and help them, you know, resolve their issues, go through their trauma, you know, and accept their experiences for what it is, and you know, to grow from it.
That's really cool because that's what you do right now with your job, right? You help children.
Yeah, I do. I'm a mental health and behavior counselor. But you know what? Children are really, they don't understand the concept of emotions and trauma yet. You know, it's not until like they hit the age 10, you know, when they actually start like having like a realization, like, oh, I don't feel normal. You know what I mean? That's when they're not having like. Have you guys been through your teenage years, right? I mean, you guys know the feelings of like, oh my gosh, I don't feel normal, I don't belong anywhere, right? Mm-hmm. You guys know those feelings. That's when you're having like a self-realization. That's the peak of your growth. Is, you know, finding your place in this world. You know, sure. Like little kids that I work with. The youngest that I work with is 4 to 5. They're the youngest that I work with, but they don't really have that concept, that grasp of like trauma and, you know, emotions, stuff like that. Articulate themselves, you know. But as for my older clients, they're able to, you know, kind of explore a little more and go a little deeper. You know, even though they don't have like a bigger grasp yet because they're still trying to find their place in life, you know, they still have a better understanding than a 5-year-old of like what's going on and, you know, everything they've been through. You know, and as you get older, you know, say right now, I'm 25, you know, it took me that long just to like, really understand my own emotions, you know, understand the ancestral trauma, you know, in my family, you know, breaking that, you know, that curse, that generational curse.
Hey, Michelle.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. So Angelene here. And I want to just go back really quick to when you said, because you said something very interesting just now. And I just want to go back really quick when you said that you consider yourself woke, and I sort of resonate with that word, but it's more of like a sort of a synonym. I consider myself like aware, and when you just said that you feel like you understand yourself more and you understand your emotions and who you are, I feel like that's what woke, that's what being aware, that's what being, you know, awaken kind of means to me.
Definitely.
It's like understanding yourself, understanding your surroundings, understanding that you have control of everything around you, and that you put off what is coming to what you're allowing to come to you. So I also wanted to go really quick. I wanted to ask you, so you said that you also, I just want to say that that's really awesome that you work with kids. That sounds really, really beautiful. But you said that you're an empath, and that kind of like helps you in your job. Can you explain what you mean by that? What an empath is for our?
So there's like different types of empaths. You know, they're. I just recently realized I was an empath a few months ago. There's like a physical empath where you can actually feel people's illnesses. You know, feels people, and then there's like emotions, where you can actually feel people's emotions, like, hurt, happiness, and all that stuff. And there's a lot more empaths to that. But definitely, as I'm the type of person who can easily absorb other people's emotions and make it seem like it's my own. You know what I mean? But when I was able to have that understanding of like, oh my gosh, I'm absorbing someone else's energy, I can easily block it off by simply covering my forehead and covering my heart. And like just the fact that I'm able to sympathize really deeply and empathize with them, that made me realize like, wow, I have this gift of like really understanding how it feels like being in the other person's shoes. But even if I don't completely understand it, I can still feel their hurt. And usually when you have someone who who can feel your emotions, you're more able to feel more understood and more accepted in this world. Having that realization, like, wow, I'm actually not alone. Someone can actually feel my pain. But empaths, there's a lot to it. I can't really name everything from the top of my head, but I know what kind of empath I am, and I'm a healer. I absorb other people's emotions. It's a gift, but also a curse. Because it's a gift because you're able to empathize with others, but it's a curse because sometimes you don't know someone else's emotions can be way too overwhelming. Do you guys ever feel that? Where like you get drained, or you get you get irritated. You don't even know why you're irritated, but then you realize that it's not even your issue that you're irritated about. Like sometimes when I'm hanging out with friends and they're very angry and they're talking to me about it, and then I find myself really hot and red and angry as well. But I have nothing to be angry about. I'm just absorbing this person's emotions, right? So that's when I knew I was an empath, because I was making everyone else's problems my own.
When did you first realize this, and how did you know it was that? Like, did you read it somewhere? Did you look it up? Were you just feeling a certain way and you had to find out what you were feeling?
So what happened was I spent a whole entire week just laying in my room, very confused, trying to figure out my own thoughts and emotions, and then like being really worked up on like issues that weren't even mine. And I didn't understand, like, why am I upset about this person going through this? Why am I upset about this person doing this to this other person? And then I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. She's Christian, by the way. Totally different beliefs. But she was like, hey, she's like, in the sense, she goes, hey, you might be an empath. And I was like, what is that? She goes, I'll look it up. And I did some readings, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I am an empath. She goes, yeah, because you're like my other friend. Like she's absorbing other people's energies and making as if like their problems are her problems, but really it's not. And like you get hurt, like you just hurt so much that you want to fix them. First step of identifying yourself as an empath is, or do you make other people's problems your problems? And why is that? It's because you have a natural gift of healing. So, and that's mine, a natural gift of healing. Wanting to heal, wanting to really fix, wanting to nurse, a nurturer. You know what I mean?
That's really beautiful. I think one of our last interviews was with another woman, Anna, and I think she was kind of touching base on that, like she absorbs energies. Remember when she said that, Vicky? When she said when she woke up in the morning, she just like absorbs people's energies, and like she's very particular about like her surroundings and her environment. I think that should be. I think that all of us should really like kind of focus on that. Focus on what we surround ourselves with, because I think even subconsciously when they can't sense things as strong as like maybe empaths do, that even subconsciously that if there's negative energy around them, I feel like it plays a big role, a big toll on on where their path is leading and going. What do you think? What do you think, Vicky? Do you have anything to add?
I'm not too familiar with empaths, so I don't feel like my opinion is relevant because I don't know the truth, and I really need to look that up. But I mean, I understand what a light worker is. You know, I know there's different types of light workers. I feel like I'm a light worker sometimes. Like, I feel like the people I meet, I'm supposed to be there in their life to help them. In any way I can. Like, it doesn't matter if it's like friendship or being in a relationship or just meeting them for the first time as strangers or having a one-time thing or whatever. I feel like there is always a purpose on why I'm meeting somebody. And like, for some reason, like, every time I do meet somebody, it's like they completely unshield themselves and really, become vulnerable with me. And maybe it's because I'm not the type to judge or how they feel, but they really do open up to me. And I just say what I want to say because I've realized that the people I've met, have experienced or going through experiences that I can relate to. And it's really cool because maybe sometimes when the people that I meet are going through some things that I might be going through, so it's like vice versa. I don't think people really know what kind of abilities they really do have, but I just know that it happens a lot to me, so I really do believe that I'm a light worker. But other than empathic, maybe I am, because I do I'm very sensitive. Like, I cry for everything. Like, today I cried because like this little baby deer was lost and shit like that. Like, so yeah, I don't.
But you know what? The word spirituality, everyone keeps, for those who don't understand spirituality, it's a process. And everyone's journey is different. There's no right or wrong way to do things, and to feel things.
That's so right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And so, no matter how many times you talk about spirituality, everyone's perspective is going to be completely different. But at the end of the day, we all feel happy. We're all woke, and we all understand that this physical realm is just an experience.
Yeah, I think that the first time that I ever experienced spirituality, I didn't know what it was called at first. I think I talked about this before. And I really thought it was just because of I really thought that it was just self-love, self-growth, and self-worth, understanding myself and whatever trauma I've had. And I have to admit that that really actually turned me into becoming more spiritual because when I first thought about spirituality, I thought witchcraft and shit like that, fucking I don't know, some weird shit going on.
Me too. I thought about demons.
Yeah.
And, witches in the forest,
Yeah.
Some witches in the
and
forest.
it's so much more than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you start thinking some
and it's
spells.
Yeah.
Dude, not gonna lie, I was so scared for the first few months of my journey because I was like, oh my gosh, what if demons are watching me right now? What if they're trying to possess me?
Oh my god, dude, for real, I remember I remember the first time I ever encountered tarot reading. I was in middle school and I was like, fuck, dude, entities are gonna attach to me. I'm gonna fucking have negative experiences all day, every day, and but it's not like that. It's so not like that.
Yeah. Yeah. You think you're being haunted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I also realized that entities, spirits, demons, whatever, they can't touch you unless you allow them
the power.
Yeah.
The power.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's more
I
like
always had this misconception that if you go into an attic and you don't run away, the demon will possess you.
Yeah.
But it's actually not like that. I was so scared at first because my friend, who is his journey is, his journey started way before mine, but he was, the first time he actually did a reading on me, he turned on a candle, and the candle flame went crazy, right? It was going crazy.
Your friend?
Yeah, my friend. He lit the candle, and the flame bursted, right? And he started like waving a crystal. He put a crystal in a bag, and he was waving the crystal, the bag over the candle. And he was like, hey, Michelle, there's like a grandma here wanting to talk to you. She's crying. And I was like, oh, heck no.
Oh my God.
No. And he was like, yeah, she's crying because she passed away like a decade ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, my grandma? Like, my grandma passed away a decade ago. He goes, oh, is it your grandma? I don't know, someone's grandma, but she's crying because she couldn't get into the other side of the world because of all the sins that she committed in the physical realm. And so she's here to ask for an apology. Ask to apologize to you. And I was like, what? You know, and he was like waving. He was waving the bag over the candle. And every time he's like, oh, you know, he was asking my grandma a question. No would be circle, and yes would be swinging back and forth. And every time he was talking to her, the bag was swaying even crazier and crazier.
Oh.
And then after that, you know, he was like trying to comfort me. He was like, Michelle, why are you scared for her? She's already dead. No, why are you scared for her? But I was like, no, like, I don't want to do this anymore, you know? He was like, Michelle, accept it, you know? She was a shaman. Your grandma was gay. You know, that's why she couldn't live the life that she wanted to. That's why she committed all those sins. You know? You need to forgive her in order for her to pass on to the other realm. So she can give you the powers that she had, but she used it for bad. So, you know, it took about a whole hour. And the moment I was like, okay, Grandma, I forgive you. I'm sorry, you know, that you didn't get a pass over to the next round. The candle died.
Oh.
Damn.
Not kidding you. The candle died. And then for the first time, I saw stars. There was a star in my neighborhood. And he told me, Michelle, I think that's your grandma. And I was like, dude, I feel it. And that was my first encounter of, I guess, spirit. Yeah.
That's fucking crazy, girl.
I feel like we all kind of have those questions about spirits and energies and entities that surround us. I feel like those like first assumptions or those like that fear of those things is because fear comes from not knowing or not understanding. And I feel like some religions unfortunately don't really convey or don't really give us like the full like grasp of what all of that really is, because I feel like we all have that feeling deep down that there's something more, there's something to this, and I feel this, but I don't really know what it is, and then we get kind of lost and we're just searching for a truth, and we need an answer because like biologically, psychologically, that's how we humans operate. We need the answer to feel safe. We need to know an answer, even if it's wrong. We just need to know to feel safe, and we'll accept it, and we'll create assumptions around that answer just so that we could feel safe.
Yeah. You know what? Speaking about like Christianity, spirits, and stuff like that. I grew up Christian. You know, I wasn't born into Christianity. I was born into shamanism,
Cool.
Yeah. Do you know what shamanism is?
No, I didn't know that you grew up Christian either.
So, yeah, I my family kind of transitioned over after my parents' divorce. But shamanism is, you know, I don't really know much about shamanism too, but it's like let's just say, so there's a person, he's a shaman who goes into the spirit world to, you know, they're kind of like the messenger between the spirit world and the physical world. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I didn't grow up with it, so I don't really know much about it. But I grew, you know, I was born into it. But when my I think the earliest memory of going to church would be 5, right? And I remember ever since I was 5, I never connected to like the Bible verses or like the lessons. Never. Like, Jesus died for your sins. Like, okay, but why? You know, I don't understand.
Okay, but why?
You know, and like I don't understand. But okay, you know, everyone's like you know, praising the Lord. So I guess I had to do it too because it was a social norm. You know what I mean? But I never really fully understood why we did it. I love the songs. I love singing. But sitting in a sermon for a whole hour to 2 hours, I could not do it. I just couldn't, you know. I never paid attention in class or like anything like that. I just never connected to Christianity. And you know, and as I grew older, I realized that like they sugarcoated a lot of things. You know, there's rape in the book, there's murder, but they don't focus on that. They don't focus on the dark side. They only focus on Jesus died for our sins. You know. They only focus on that. Like, love thy neighbor. They only focus on that. But how are you gonna say love thy neighbor when this person murdered his own brother in the book? You know, or like Mary the Virgin was 12 years old, and you know Joseph was like, well, Joseph or Abraham, whoever she married, you know, Joseph was like in his 60s or 80s. You know what I mean? Child marriages, like nobody talks about that. You know. But now that we're in modern times, it's wrong, you know. But nobody wants to focus on the fact that this Bible that everyone worships, you know, despite all the good messages it also has a lot of darkness in it, right? And the first verse in the book is "Let there be light," because without darkness, there wouldn't be light, you know.
Yeah.
And then in the Adam and Eve section of the book, you know, where Satan convinces Eve to eat the apple, and then Eve, you know, convinces Adam to eat the apple, and like all that stuff, you know, I had like this realization a few years ago, and I cracked up so badly to myself at midnight because I solved my own, you know, I had like my realization. I was like, if God hears and sees everything, that he should have seen and heard Adam and Eve eat the apple. You know what I mean? So he like if he didn't want them to eat the apple, he shouldn't have planted it.
Exactly.
So he kind of did that to humanity, right? And they expected humanity to like praise him and worship him. So I didn't understand that logic. So I was cracking up because it's like, dude, God put us through this. God put us through sin. You know, God put us through all this. And who told God to give his son and sacrifice his son for us? Like, nobody did that.
I thought that the reason why the apple was planted was because a snake planted it or some shit, or like the fucking like devil or whatever. Like, I don't know anything about Christian books or whatever, the Bible, but that's what I heard.
I don't know, but I was cracking up so bad because you know how people say God hears you, God sees you, God hears and sees everything that you do.
Yeah,
right?
He's omnipotent.
But why didn't he see Adam and Eve eating the apple if he had his eyes on them the whole entire time? You know what I mean? So, and then and then after that, like I just didn't understand. But you know what? When I discovered Lilith, the woman before Eve, and how she wanted to be an equal, right? But then Adam didn't like that. So Lilith ran out of the garden because Lilith wanted to be an equal to Adam, but Adam wanted Lilith to submit to him. So, and then Lilith obviously became Satan's pawn, you know, but, you know, she had the freedom to be an equal, you know, she had the freedom to roam around and like not submit to anybody if she doesn't want to. She submitted to Satan willingly, you know, because she chose that. She had that power. She chose to submit to Satan. Whereas Eve was just kind of like, okay, you want me to submit to you? Like, all right, if that's the way, you know. Whereas Lilith was like, I'll submit to whoever I want to submit to. reality that we're going through is satanic, right? Because we're not following God's way, the light that the God has, you know. But I hope people understand that with light, you have to have darkness. You know, there's bound to be stress. There's bound to be, you know, depression. There's bound to be, you know, all these negative things in order for it to be a positive. Like, come on, a positive. Like, come on, simple math. Positive and negative equals negative. Negative and negative equals positive. Like, come on, you know, positive equals positive, right? Mm-hmm. So if you combine the positive part of Christianity and all the religions together, you know, plus equals a positive outcome, you know? Yeah. But basically, well, the point of all this, you know, is to really just say that, like, people need to focus on the negative side, the dark side, the shadow work, in order to go into the light. But as humanity, we like to polish things, you know? Kind of like photoshopping. We like to Photoshop.
Yeah.
We like to Photoshop to make it look polished and nice and beautiful, make it look perfect. But, like, underneath all that polish is just a complete mess.
Mm-hmm.
You know? A huge avoidance. Like, you know, when, like, people are preaching, like, the Bible and stuff, they're only preaching the good things, but they're not preaching the bad things. They're not saying these bad things. Whereas spirituality, you know, or being woke or whatever it is, we all talk about the dark first, how it led us to the light, you know?
Yeah, because even in it was like, it was all dark, and then there was light, right?
Yeah.
I feel like even in the saying, like, on the opposite side of fear is bliss. Like, fear, you associate that with, like, darkness, like, bad feelings. But on the other side of that, you've always hear, if you face your fear, you know, you're going to see, like, you're going to find your answer. On the other side of that fear, you're going to be stronger. Like, you're going to come into, like, a more beautiful being or something. You're going to become better. And I think that that's why we all, like, even as, like, a teenager, I remember, like, everybody's, like, we're talking about, like, you know, different spirits. We wanted to go to the bathroom and say Hail Mary and all this other stuff. Like, why is that, though? Like, why? Why are we drawn to scary stuff? Like, why are we drawn to that? Because I think that, like, subconsciously, we want to understand ourselves. We want to understand those dark sides of ourselves. And
wow, that's a very interesting point.
And you just said it that, like, we need to focus on the dark, and then we'll find the truth. Like,
you know what? I personally don't like horror films. I don't like them at all because I don't like the pop-ups, you know? I don't like the pop-ups.
But the thrillers, though, right? The thrillers are the best.
Yeah, but why? Like, why do we kind of like it? Like, I was taught, like, to never like those movies. I could never watch them. And it's because you feel like you're a hero if you know, like, oh yeah, I watched that movie, I did it, you know, I survived, basically. Like, I didn't get too scared, or I overcame it. Like, there's always this kind of, like, great feeling after going through something really hard, really tough, or fearful, or scary. But then you realize, you know, okay, I didn't die. Okay, I didn't get that hurt.
I want to share a story because, after listening to both of you, I've just made a fucking realization that I went through that shit, dude. Because before after I fell out of my spirituality, I actually went to a dark place. Like, I was actually struggling with darkness and light, and I thought that spirituality was only about being in light and love this and love that. Only think about positives and, like, don't face, you know, the negative or the darkness. And I was struggling a lot with it. I wasn't facing my trauma. I wasn't facing my shadow side. I wasn't facing any of it. I concealed it because I didn't think that's what I was supposed to do in spirituality. And the more that I concealed it, the more I fucking fell out of it. I was becoming depressed. I was, like, becoming very just pessimistic about everything because I don't know. I was just being so negative. I was just being super negative. And then when I finally accepted my trauma and my shadow side, I saw the light in it. And I think that's very important for me to say this talk about my experience, because, you know, somebody might be going out there right now, or somebody could be experiencing this right now where they feel like their life is a piece of shit and stuff like that, because they're not facing their traumas. They're not facing what's hurting them or what's making them feel this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like today, I just realized that I was thinking to myself, like, okay, like I'm driven with my career, and I'm driven with my relationship, and I'm driven with self-love, but what's stopping me? What's blocking me? Why am I not moving forward? What do I have to keep looking for? And I really didn't realize it. But like you said, when we're kids, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. We don't know what the fuck we're feeling. We always think we're different and nobody understands us. But when I focused on that and like think about like the day that like the first time I ever felt depressed, like if I really think about it, like I was fucking bullied in high school. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was really fucking bullied in high school. And I concealed it because I'm over here thinking like, oh, like I'm like thinking to myself like shit, like I'm gonna suppress this event in my life because I'm gonna overcome it, and nothing's gonna stop me from overcoming it because I'm a grown-ass woman now, blah 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 blah. But I didn't realize that whatever happened to me in the past when I got bullied is actually affecting me in the present. And in order for me to reopen what I have closed, I needed to go in and really feel what I was feeling, and like Anna said, re-experience that trauma, to really re-experience that trauma, to finally like get the closure or whatever, or forgive yourself.
That's really cool that you said that.
And I never, when Anna said it, I didn't really think of it that way because she didn't go too much into detail about it. But I did appreciate her for sharing that. But now that we're talking about, you know, this kind of stuff, it's like, oh, I get it now. Like, I just need a little bit more detail to finally understand, like, what I was going through.
You know, okay, do you mind if I share, Michelle? I'm going to share something.
Go ahead.
Okay.
This is our conversation.
All right. So that's really awesome that you said that, Vicky, because I don't know if you remember when you and I first met. I was hanging out a lot, like I was being very social, and I was reading a lot more. Like I had no idea what I was doing, but I don't know, I was feeling myself and I was feeling things. And like after I just had this weird experience in Baltimore, and I come back, and then all of a sudden I can start feeling other people's emotions, and I can start seeing pictures of their life and their past and their future. And there was this one particular person that I was reading, and I guess I call it reading because it's like when I'm near a person and I focus my energy on them, or I focus my mind on them. It's like I'm reading them like a book, but I'm like I see their emotion. I see pictures of their life, and I didn't really know anything about that. I don't really know what I'm doing, or I just said what was coming to me. I don't know if I'm right. I don't know if this is correct. I don't know if this is even going to help you, but I'm just, you know, putting my best foot forward, and I'm just going to say it because maybe on the off chance it does. Maybe it does help you. And that was my advice that you said, Vicky, was that you have to dive into that. That was my advice to that person. And I just want to like reiterate that because I met somebody who told me, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go back there. I don't need to go back there. And I told that person, Nick, I told that person, I was like, yes, you do. You do have to go back there because you have to understand it. You have to go back there in your mind, mentally, visualize it, and go through it again. And instead of acting in the way that you did, act in the way that you want to act. Say what you feel like you should have said. And then tell them you forgive them. If it's a person, if it's a certain situation, tell them you love them and you forgive them. And you forgive yourself and you love yourself, and then it'll be gone. And that's what I told the person, because I don't know, that's just what I felt. And once I said that to them, I was like, oh, you know what? Like I didn't even know that. Like, I really, like, this wasn't an experience that I went through that I was like, oh, I went deep into my past and I forgave myself and I did this and that. It just came to me. And I was like, wow, that was really good advice. I'm going to take that. Mm-hmm. So I went back to my room and I did the same thing. I, like, you know, revisited those places, those dark places that really made me feel victimized. And I said, you know what? I forgive you and I love you because, you know, those people are all going through their own thing. They're in their own little universe and we are in our own. And how we interpret things is all up to us. And how we live our life from this moment forward is literally all up to us. And I just want to say that when that person did tell me, you know, like, no, that's wrong, I don't want to visit back into that past, like, I don't need to. I think that it is very critical. It is very critical. So thank you, Vicky, for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, guys. That's really powerful. You know, just to take it back. You know, I'm not bashing on Christianity and anything like that. This is just my experience, you know, with the religion itself. You know, but you know, every religion has its perks. Every religion has its downside. You know, It's just that Christianity didn't work for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This journey that I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
What were you gonna say?
I
was just gonna say this journey that I'm in is working for me. You know, and like, you know, I know lots of people who have been through hell and found God, right? Good for them. I'm happy for them. As long as they're happy, healthy, and, you know, a good person. And then I have people who have been following Christianity their whole lives, and they're horrible. You know, they're horrible people, right? It's just like, whoa. You know, for someone who preaches, like, love and light, you raped, you had affairs, you, like, ruined someone's life, you murdered, like, that's crazy. And, you know, that's just my experience of what I've seen, you know, throughout these past 25 years.
You know what? Everybody has their own way in finding spirituality, regardless of what religion it is. Like, yeah, we probably have met, like, one day we're gonna meet somebody who is spiritual and has very evil intent and shit like that.
Yeah.
So, like,
yeah, definitely.
And, like,
I have met people like that too.
Yeah, like, I've actually heard stories, like, we have a friend, I'm gonna give her a fake name, I'm gonna call her Yesenia, whatever. Yeah, she says that she claims to be a witch, and she said that she had curses on her, like, before, and she can feel it because she's also a witch too, so she can see the signs and all that kind of stuff. And then that shit fucking scares me, like, you know what I mean? Like, it scares me, but at the same time, it's like there's bad people out there too, using, you know, whatever witchcraft or Wicca or whatever spells they're doing to do bad intent. Like there's pretty bad people out there too, even though they're, you know, different religions. But it's almost the end of the podcast. I don't want to make it too long, so I think this was a great conversation. Like, I really awesome. Loved it. Like, I'm definitely gonna post this, like, ASAP because I think people need to hear this. You know,
before we ended, I did want to mention that that I agree with you, Michelle. I do, and you too, Vicky. I agree that that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what religion you believe in. It doesn't matter at least to me, in my opinion, and what you matter. Like, you could worship the dirt. As long as you are peaceful.
You can worship the spaghetti god.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude! I actually met somebody like that, and I didn't know it was a real thing, and I kept bashing on him. Like, you must be super, like, you know, kind of, you know. I don't want to say anything, but I was like,
let's not go there.
I was like, are you? Is that real? He was like, yeah, I'm a pastor, and I'm like, you are. He was like, yeah, I'm a legit pastor. I can marry you off right now, and I was like he can, like, be the pastor to marry you off. And I was like, okay.
My point is that, like, yeah, you could even be that. As long as you are not causing harm, you are spreading love, I could care less. Like, and it does not matter. It does not matter who you want to kiss, who you want to be with. Exactly.
Good vibes only.
We are all beautiful spirits and energies. Like, we are all connected, and I don't know any more, like, division that goes between us. It just, like, division is chaos.
That's why in the very beginning beginning of the podcast, I said I don't like putting myself in categories because I don't like labeling myself because it puts me in categories. You know what I mean? So, and I don't like that. We're all interconnected, like you said. Like, we're all living here in this physical realm, you know? And we should all just be kind to each other.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Instead of labeling people based on, like, their religion or their beliefs and stuff like that, call them by their name. My name's Michelle. You know? It's like, for instance, like, oh, Michelle, what's your sexuality? It's like, I'm Michelle. You know?
Does it matter?
Yeah, does it matter? Like, I'm me. No matter what, I'm still me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're all interconnected. Everything has a life, you know? Your life is not worth more than mine, and vice versa. You know, we're all here in this physical realm. And if we feel really negative, we should just breathe.
Just breathe.
Just breathe.
All right, Michelle, there you go.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking this crystal walk with us.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
I love that so much. Thank you for taking this crystal walk.
Yeah, no, dude, I love it so much because, like there was a time where I found out that Just Breathe was already taken, the name. And then one day, me and Angie were just, like, driving around. Yeah, like, just talking in the car. And then she said Crystal Walk. And I was like, hold up, write that shit down. I was like, that sounds fucking beautiful.
Yeah, because it literally is a crystal. Like, thank you for taking this crystal walk with me. Like, I've been driving for like an hour and a half now, and I literally felt like I was just walking, you know, looking at the clouds, and you know, it's been beautiful. And you know what? What's crazy is that when we were talking about the dark side, it started raining hella hard.
Oh, I didn't even hear that.
And then when I was talking about Christianity, about the Bible and stuff, lightning started coming out.
Oh my god.
Lightning.
Dude,
Oh god, it's lightning.
Dude, so I didn't
want to say anything.
Dude, no, that's so crazy.
Nothing against Christianity. Nothing
that's so
at all.
crazy because Angie interviewed a guy named Barry, right? Fake name, sorry. And he called me because I had to text him about something, and he called me. He was telling me something about how, like, he was trying to give a statement or like a I don't know what he was trying to do, but he was at a church and he was trying to give a statement, and he was saying something, and it was raining, and then there was thunder, and I guess the thunder hit, like, made a wobble, made an earthquake, and, like, their angel fell.
Whoa!
Yeah, their angel fell, and then they started criticizing him that he might be like some type of like something, and he was and Barry was like, "How the audacity of you! Like, I'm here to just share my whatever, and you're telling me that I'm, you know, like this negative entity that's coming into your church. No, that's not right. That's not true. Maybe it's because, you know," he was saying, like, maybe it's because of what you guys are doing. Mm-hmm. Maybe there's something going on with you guys, and I'm here to, I don't know, speak the truth or whatever. So that's crazy. Dude, this is why spirituality is fucking crazy.
Yeah. You know, when I saw that thunder, I was like, oh, I'm speaking a truth that nobody wants to hear.
Yeah, no, that's true too. There's a lot of truth out there that nobody really wants to hear because they don't want to hear change.
I think that because there was, so I'm reading this new book called it's not a new book, but it's called The Four Agreements, and in the book it says that our words.
I heard about that. I heard that's really good.
It's awesome. And Don Ruiz, he talks about how, like, our words are poison, and I've been saying that, like, I totally feel that. It even says that in the Bible, like, our words can be a two-edged sword. It says it in different religions too, like, the words that we speak can either speak life or death into people's lives. And I think that there has been a lot of negative words spoken about the truth, like, that you, Vicky, believe in, which is just spreading love and being equal, and that we are all one. I think that there has been a lot of, like, negative words spoken to kind of, like, block that from people to understand and see. So I'm not completely surprised that the angel fell, that the thunder started coming, because there, for over decades and centuries, I feel like there has been a lot of negative things hiding the actual truth of life, and it is just to share love for us to be united, and it doesn't matter how you get there to love yourself completely. It doesn't matter.
Okay, well, it's about that time. Thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing your input. Like, I really enjoyed this conversation with you. Maybe might have you again. Yeah.
Thanks,
definitely.
Michelle.
All right, Michelle. Have a great day. Drive safe, okay?
Be safe, girl.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.